1 year ago, the world witnessed one of the most concentrated bursts of UAP activity in modern history. A wave of sightings that spanned continents, airspace, and military jurisdictions. These objects weren't hobby drones, commercial quadcopters, or even classified domestic prototypes. Witnesses described craft that accelerated instantly, hovered without noise, shifted direction with no inertia, moved in coordinated formations, and were as large as a car. Even seasoned military personnel admitted privately that these capabilities were decades beyond anything publicly known. But almost as quickly as these events captured public attention, a coordinated narrative snapped into place. Drone activity. No explanation of origin. No demonstration of matching technology. No clarification of how synchronized drones were operating over multiple nations at the exact same time. Just one label, repeated in perfect unison, as if the script had been prepared in advance, and then something even stranger happened. Within weeks, the sightings spread across Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Maryland, Virginia, Ohio, and eventually reached the United Kingdom, Germany, and Japan. A mysterious global fog rolled in, thick, unnatural, appearing simultaneously in places with completely different weather systems. It dominated headlines, conversations, and social media feeds. The UAP events, which had been building momentum, instantly vanished from the news cycle. The fog became the story. People were told not to worry, that authorities were looking into it. Next came the energy orbs, which once again were dismissed. Remember all this? Then the Biden administration issued perhaps the most unconvincing statement imaginable. They had no idea what caused it. A weather anomaly? A chemical reaction? Atmospheric interference? No answers. No follow-up. And just like that, the entire incident, worldwide sightings of advanced craft followed by unexplained environmental phenomena, evaporated from public awareness. But not everyone was silent. Government response to the phenomenon was blatantly cautious and fragmented. Some local police departments admitted to investigating, some checked FAA flight logs and local flight permit databases. A few reached out to state-level aviation offices. In nearly all cases, the result was the same: no matching licensed flight, no radar record, no permit filed. At the same time, residents who submitted video or eyewitness reports never heard back. Agencies cite lack of conclusive evidence. In public statements, authorities refer to the sightings as unverified aerial phenomena, but they stop short of labeling them UFOs, black ops craft, or civilian drones. And we're left with a stack of unsolved reports, hundreds, perhaps thousands. But not everyone was silent. During the peak of the confusion, President Trump made a cryptic remark that stood out sharply against the administration's "we have no idea" narrative. He stated plainly, they know exactly what's going on. For many, that was the moment the mask slipped. Because if the government did know, then the fog wasn't a coincidence. It was a distraction. A diversion engineered to smother a disclosure event that was about to go mainstream. A growing number of researchers, experiencers, and insiders now believe that what happened wasn't random. It was an attempted first-stage extraterrestrial disclosure that was actively shut down. The UAPs were visible. People were filming. The synchronized global waves suggested coordination, not chaos. Whether these craft belonged to friendly civilizations, neutral observers, or members of a galactic federation, the timing and visibility implied intention. They were making themselves known, carefully, publicly, and globally. But the deep state intelligence networks that have controlled the UFO narrative for nearly 80 years weren't rolling over. They have always relied on secrecy, compartmentalization, and denial. A highly visible, undeniable mass sighting would have ripped control out of their hands overnight. So the fastest solution was to redirect the world's attention with a fear-based environmental event, something disruptive enough to impede visibility for the crafts and smother public curiosity, but vague enough to elude investigation. And it worked, for a while. But the public today is different than it was a year ago. People are awake. They compare timelines. They notice when media narratives shift too perfectly. And they recognize patterns, especially the pattern where real disclosure attempts are systematically blocked, delayed, or buried. Though nothing has been definitively solved, certain angles have emerged that offer new paths for inquiry. In the past year, rumors have surfaced of private drone testing companies operating in restricted zones near military bases and testing grounds. Some locals reported seeing lights shortly after suspected drone testing flights. A few residents invested in night vision or thermal imaging devices, hoping to capture heat signatures. In every published testimonial so far, those devices registered nothing, like they were cloaked or invisible to our detection devices. If these objects were conventional drones or aircraft, we would expect thermal or radar signatures. The absence of such signatures suggests something more unusual. Some sightings describe multiple lights moving in formation, hovering steadily, then disappearing simultaneously. That kind of coordination is far more difficult for small hobby drones, especially when no sound or ground launch is noticed, and most people realize this. While New Jersey remains the epicenter of reporting, scattered reports from neighboring states, with similar descriptions, hint that this may not be a localized phenomenon. Then there were reports around the world. However, no public effort has been made to consolidate all reports into a larger database. Several residents who came forward with video or audio recordings say they were discouraged from talking to media or investigators. Some local agencies even declined to accept submitted materials. That raises questions about why they won't investigate these unusual events that could be a threat. But the official response was that there was no danger and that the vehicles were authorized, but they don't have an explanation of what they were. The whole thing stunk to the high heavens. 1 year after the surge of drone sightings, we have more questions than answers. Many of us hoped that Trump would disclose the galactic visitors on day one, but it became clear that the deep state was still able to impede and stop full disclosure, so apparently there's more cleansing that must occur. What we do know is that the large bulk of sightings remain unexplained. Radar logs, flight permit databases, and official records reveal nothing. Thermal and night vision follow-ups frequently yield no signatures. The descriptions are consistently repeated and from credible witnesses, and they don't match known aircraft or drones. Whether this is advanced black ops technology, a rogue drone subculture, an optical phenomenon, or something entirely new, we don't have an explanation yet. But one thing is certain: the silence, the red tape, the lack of follow-up, that is no kind of answer. If you're watching this, I encourage you to keep your eyes open. Record what you can if you do see strange events in the sky. Share what you see and ask questions, because in a world where the skies can hide secrets, our vigilance and awareness is what's going to bring that epic announcement that we are not alone.